Yeah,
Morning.
So,
yeah,
So good evening,
maybe.
everyone, and welcome to the Down Under Mastermind call for the 5th of November. Tonight we have Chris McLean with us, and he's going to be talking about his experiences and journey so far. It's all yours, Chris.
Wow, that's a short but powerful intro. And where to start, really? Well, I guess I can.
Well, you can start with
The five,
when did you join SFM?
I joined in, I believe it was around April, May of last year.
Oh, right.
Last year was 2014, yeah. So about 18 months ago now. Yeah, so it was around April or May, one of those. And yeah, pretty much went straight through from a Facebook straight through to everything, and sort of straight through and went through to black kind of immediately. So
Right.
I didn't faff around too much with it. I sort of got in, saw the opportunity, and dived sort of headlong straight into it, and saw the potential of positioning as high as possible, and sort of made that commitment, and sort of went balls deep, I guess, and just sort of got fully committed. So I kind of understand the momentum that you can get from just kind of going all out and going, cashing, putting your chips in and just going all in,
Yeah.
as opposed to fluffing around the edges, which I have done before, but I do tend to be a bit more all or nothing.
Yeah.
I've been that way with other businesses that I've started, and I've been both ways, really. I've sort of been all in or half in, and all in always works better.
Funny that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, funny that it's when it's the decisiveness, really. Once you've made that decision and you commit, especially when you're outlaying, you're putting 20 grand on the table and to go black.
Yeah.
Sort of that laying that sort of capital, there's definitely a commitment there that you need to sort of back with. And you've got to back that up and back that with action, and that's sort of what I did, really. I saw the opportunity, laid the capital out, and just went, right, it sounds like something I want to do. And I probably went in that quickly because I'd been looking at something like this for a while.
All right.
So before I came across it, I think ever since I'd started my advertising agency, which I'm still sort of running at the moment over here. I started that when I was, I think, 22 or 23, sort of pretty much straight out of uni. Sort of graduated uni and did sort of business marketing and advertising in uni, and thought that I'd go out and work in an ad agency, be like a creative in an ad agency or something like that.
Yeah.
And kind of doing the advertising course and meeting people from agencies and sort of seeing what that world was like, I went, oh, fuck agencies. Don't want to be in an agency. That sounds horrible. I hated the whole advertising thing. And then probably did a year or so just sort of bartending in and stuff, and then ended up starting the first iteration of the business was me and one of my best mates at the time. We bought in those days it was like a massive binder. It was a course on starting a desktop publishing company. So how to start a desktop publishing company, which I guess back in those days was publishing Word documents and typing stuff out for people, kind of like secretarial type stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know how it came across that, but it was one of those. I think the internet was around then, but it was one of the, probably like a mail order thing or something like that. This would have been 2000, 2002, 2001, 2002.
All
So
right.
that was sort of the first impression, was this desktop publishing, and we bought this literally massive ring-bound folder which had all the instructions on how to start a desktop publishing business. And then, so I'd done sort of marketing and advertising in uni, and my mate had done sort of technology, so he'd done IT, sort of like an IT course. So he'd done a bit of Photoshop and some Flash and some web development and HTML and that kind of stuff. So once we got into it, we basically started building websites and designing flyers and business cards and all that kind of stuff. And we sort of had, this is going way back pre-SFM, but it kind of gives a foundation for what I brought into SFM. So yeah, we started designing websites basically, and it started out, at that time we were also part of it. We were writing electronic music and playing gigs around Melbourne. This is a three-piece techno boy band basically. So we knew a lot of people in clubs. We knew a lot of people in sort of the dance music industry. So we were doing flyers and websites for nightclubs and that sort of thing. That was sort of our first client base. And then eventually we started branching out and we got the first sort of corporate clients. And those early days were really, and this is something that I've really brought into SFM and everything that I do. And it's something that Guy and Alana know talk about a lot, is we had this FSO mentality, which basically is figure shit out. And there was a lot of that we had when we had clients coming and saying, look, I want an animation of blah, blah, blah. And we had no idea how to do that. Or they wanted video edited, or they wanted some new CSS styling on a website, which was new at the time, and or building PHP coded websites or something like that we had never done before. But we wanted the money, we wanted the clients, so we basically just figured shit out. We jumped on Google, we'd Google some stuff, find some forums, work out how to do things, download stuff, and we just learned as we went along, really.
Oh, wow.
So it was really a lot of sort of self-innovation and just kind of figuring it out as we went along. And so that's really how we built the business. There was some stuff that we knew, and then sort of taking that base ability and applying it across different things. So for us, we knew how to use Photoshop. So from using Photoshop, we kind of worked out how to use Flash, and from Flash we worked out Dreamweaver to code websites, and from that we kind of learned HTML, and then we could do PHP coding, and then once we knew that, we could jump into other platforms. So kind of those tech platform ability came from knowing one or two things, and then we applied that knowledge and that process just to learning other things. And that I found really, so me coming into SFM, coming into kind of a high-tech situation, like the tech stuff was super easy for me. Pretty much all the modules I powered through all of that stuff very quickly, because I built websites, I'd done lots of branding, I'd done marketing before. By the time I started, I was over a decade into advertising marketing. So the technical aspect came very easy, and the marketing advertising aspect was pretty native for me as well, which helped a lot. So the marketing advertising aspect, the agency, so from desktop publishing to really digital agency. We were a digital agency back when that was kind of a new thing, sort of early mid-2000s. Like a digital agency was very new, like building websites, being more digital. That was very new at the time. So we were always pretty cutting edge with what we were doing. And that kind of eventuated into getting even more cutting edge. And we sort of amalgamated a bunch of other businesses into our business. So we ended up sort of moving really into quite hardcore cutting edge technology. So we were looking at, we started working around 2009, 2010. We sort of started working with touch screens, transparent LCDs, sort of Wii controller, gesture control, motion tracking, eye tracking. So really, really cutting edge technology. And that's what we built the business to what it is today, where we're doing a lot of very, very high tech stuff. So again, the technical aspect is very native to me. So websites, looking at websites now, they're pretty basic compared to some of the stuff we're doing around interaction, using eye tracking and camera systems and that kind of thing to gauge real-time sentiment and age and gender demographics, and putting that back into gaming platforms. So we're doing pretty advanced stuff in that technology space. So that's always been a pretty interesting native space for me. So I guess that's kind of where that business is now. We're doing a lot of entertainment, screen setups and digital signage and that sort of thing, all pulled back through sort of content managed platforms and cloud and all this kind of cool, crazy stuff. So that's kind of my background. So bringing that into SFM was a really cool business model for me. So I had that kind of business background, and the agency had been up and down successful. And by the point I'd found SFM, I'd just moved out to the UAE to sort of start the agency here, because that sort of the year before that was probably one of the shittest times of my life. My dad passed away. He passed away from brain cancer in 2012. So 2012, 2013, I was out here. So that year, I was sort of looking for, where do I go? What do I do? So I moved out here because Mum and Dad had lived out here. So that was sort of one of the draw cards, and we had a major airline flying out here. So that's sort of why I ended up in this bizarre, strange place in Abu Dhabi. So that was sort of the rationale for moving here and starting the agency, and so I moved out here in January, and by April, May, I'd found the SFM. And the reason the SFM made sense for me was largely because I'd read 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. So when I saw a Facebook ad for Live the Laptop Lifestyle, that made a lot of sense for me. That really resonated, because ever since I'd read 4-Hour Work Week, I'd sort of been looking for that. And Tim Ferriss talks about that Muse business concept, which is the business that kind of runs on autopilot, runs online, and gives you lifestyle freedom and all that. And I really, as soon as I read that book, I was still doing the agency. I probably read it even like 2005, 2006, 2007, around quite a long time ago. I read that. And so from that time, sort of up to now, I'd read everyone. I'd read all the Tony Robbins stuff, a lot of Robert Kiyosaki, all the Rich Dad stuff, the cash flow quadrant. So I kind of had that bit of a different mindset on what financial independence meant and what investment meant and what assets meant. So kind of, again, diving into a big investment like SFM and putting 20 grand on the table, that wasn't risky for me. And that's part of that entrepreneur mindset. Starting a new business and doing something new and fresh and putting that money in and investing in myself, I don't see that as risky. I see getting a 9-to-5, that's kind of risky for me. Largely because I don't like the concept of 9-to-5, and I've never had one. Literally the closest thing to a 9-to-5 I've had was working bar jobs, sort of out of uni. And so I came straight out of uni and started my business. I've pretty much always been, so I've always had that lifestyle freedom, and I've always been my own boss. But I say I inverted commas lifestyle freedom, because I really didn't have that lifestyle freedom, even being my own boss, purely because I didn't have the money. The business wasn't profitable. Or we'd go, it was up and down, good month, bad month, good month, bad month, good month, bad month. So I never had that. I never had that consistent paycheck, which I imagine is quite nice in a 9-to-5, that you know what's coming in every month and you can kind of budget and that sort of thing. But I've quite literally never had that. I've never had that consistent paycheck. And again, that kind of goes into my lack of my risk-averse mentality. I've never been secure, so I kind of just dive into stuff and see what floats and see what happens. So I'm pretty risk-averse in that sense, because I've been through the ups and downs, and I'm sure Neen's not on here now, but I'm sure Neen will watch the replay. And I've talked to her a few times about, I went through, get to those weeks and days and months of going to the supermarket and finding the $2.50 bag of bread rolls that's been reduced for that day, and that's what you eat for lunch because you've literally got $10 in the bank. I've been through those days more than I'd like to admit, to be honest. But that's just the nature of building business. It doesn't, there's rare cases where you get in the right thing at the right time, kind of like Stuart did and like Jay did. They got into the right thing at the right time, and they really were able to ride that digital gold rush and had that almost instant kind of exponential success. But even for them, it took time.
Yeah.
It took time to get that massive success. But they were, for us doing what they did, it's not the same anymore. They kind of got into it at the time that it was. You could go from 0 to 100 really, really in quite a short time. Whereas now it's older history now. Sorry, you were saying something?
It took Jay about 3 years to become successful, didn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was an instant, and that's what. But it's just sort of the precaution is it does take time. But even those guys were in it at a time when it was probably easier to ramp up, and it still took them to become really successful. And I've been talking about that quite a lot in my sort of recently in posts and videos that I've been shooting. But people, especially because we're in kind of online marketing and get rich quick and all that crap that kind of gets associated with what we're doing. SFM gets thrown in that bucket, and it's totally not that. But I'm sure everyone on this call has spoken to their partners, and their partners have said, "Oh, it's get rich quick bullshit." Or you've spoken to a colleague at work, or you've been banned by Facebook or YouTube or someone for get rich quick promotion, and it really isn't that, but it gets thrown in that that bucket. But yeah, that's the expectation when you talk about a business like this. Is you come on, you click your mouse a few times, and you make $1 million. And it's just that's really a false economy. It's a false perspective. You're building a business, and that takes time. So and so again, sort of coming to my mindset, I've been through that. I've been through the ups and downs of eating bread rolls and eating prime steak. I've had the ups and downs of that entrepreneur journey. And at this point now, I'm 13 years into being my own boss, and sort of having various times of plenty and times of none. But sort of in the time that I was building that business, I didn't have that lifestyle freedom. That's kind of where I started before I took this tangent. I had that. I was my own boss, and I had my own business, and we were building. But I took my first holiday after 7 years of having a business. My first proper holiday with my girlfriend at the time was 2009, and we started the business in 2002. So, yeah, I didn't have a regular paycheck, and I didn't have that actual freedom of having holidays. So when I read stuff like the 4-hour work week and all the Robert Kiyosaki stuff and started getting more into it, I did some Christopher Howard stuff. I don't know how many people know Christopher Howard. He's probably a bit more prominent in Australia than anywhere else, but he's similar-ish. He's an NLP guy, similar to a lower scale, Tony Robbins, and I did a few of his big weekend 2-3 day events and did a bit with that, and that's a lot of the Tony Robbins personal development stuff. So I did a lot of personal training and personal development in that time that I was building my business. And actually, I talked about this in the video I shot yesterday or the day before. And that part of the journey that's been the best part for me. Like becoming an entrepreneur, becoming a better person, has been, and reading all that stuff and doing the courses and all the stuff that you learn, the education you get, the personal development that you have to do just to get through this life. That's been indispensable to me. Like I said, I'd gladly earn $0 for the rest of my life, but have that experience and kind of be the person I am that I've had to become just to survive almost 15 years as an entrepreneur. It's not an easy road. It takes it's easy. I think I do it a lot. I beat myself up a lot about not being successful because I haven't earned a paycheck for 15 years. But to be around 15 years later and still kind of pushing and still trying new things, I think that takes a pretty specific type of person. I think most people would have bailed in year 2 and gone and got a job. So that's sort of that option's just never been an option for me. So and that's why I've always started new things. And that's sort of another aspect of it, is that I've always had the mentality of, as I'm more of a creator profile, so I'm great at creating and starting things, but not so good at kind of finishing and working in the day-to-day things of a business. That's sort of what I've come to realise. And that's, again, why SFM fit really well, because I could do the creative stuff, I could do the marketing, I could do the upfront stuff, and all the back end was taken care of. I didn't have to do the sales. The daily stuff is, once it's up and running, the daily stuff's pretty minimal. Bit of spreadsheeting and some tracking and just doing new campaigns and doing new creative all over again. So that business system was something that I'd been looking for a long time. Again, kind of from 4-hour work week. That was the one that kind of kicked it off. And also the E-Myth Revisited, and the E-Myth by, I think it's Michael Gerber. That's more of a business owner type perspective, but he's all about, those books are all about systems and building systems into a business and working on the business rather than in the business. And I kind of realised I spent too many years working in the business, which is just not what I'm good at. I'm good at the first bit, the kick-off part. And that's what's so awesome about SFM DDA for me, is that I can do that really creative front-end bit, and then the rest is kind of managed to a degree. So that's been really nice with the SFM, and that's why I'm now transitioning from the agency to this, to SFM more full-time. And to be fair, really, I've kind of laid off the agency work here a bit, and it's kind of petered out a bit because I'm so much more passionate about SFM and the people that I get to work with. I just saw Mary pop up. Hey, Mary. So people like Mary who have come in underneath me and just meeting really cool people. Hi. So you get to meet really cool people and you get to work with really great people, and meeting Jay and Stu and hanging out with those guys, and Guy and Alana, and going to the Momentum Days and all the events and meeting people. This community is amazing, and I just love being in this community as opposed to slogging sales meetings with the head of some corporate company trying to sell some shit that they don't really need and they don't really want, and it's kind of, you push in and it's sales tactics and it's a bit whereas SFM is like, here's this amazing opportunity, do you want to get involved? And people that do put their hand up and get involved, and those that don't go by the wayside, but the ones that do are always exceptional people. I mean, you can say everybody on this call, even though there's only a few of us, and anybody that's watching and all the people across the SFM, we're all pretty similar. We're all pretty similar people. And that's been a really nice aspect for me as well. And that's why I love the events. The events are really cool. Obviously, being in the UAE, I'm pretty isolated out here. There's two of us, I think, out here. There's Mark Reed up in Dubai, who some of you might know. He's up in Dubai, but he's about to head back to Thailand. And I've got a couple of other leads that are UAE based, but it's pretty much just me here, so it's hard to mastermind in person with people. So I've been flying to London for the Momentum events and for the Platinum events, just to meet with people, and that's the community of this thing is awesome. Is get to meet and work with really cool people. I've completely forgotten where I started that tangent, but we'll end it on the community is awesome. So that's been a really nice aspect, is just the people. And sort of on that, if you can get to events, it's awesome having online relationships with people and Skyping occasionally and chatting, but meeting people in person, you can't beat it. And so far, I've only done London events, so I've met most of the London crew. But I'm excited. I'm coming out to Melbourne. I'm coming home in a couple of weeks to do Platinum and Momentum Day. So I look forward to meeting as many of you that are going to those events. So I know a lot of you. I've spoken to a lot of you online, and for 18 months, for a long time, over a year, I've been chatting to all these Aussies and Kiwis, and we've never met. So it'll be awesome to finally get back home and meet a bunch of people. It's always fun. Where should I take it next, Robbie? That's kind of, I mean, that's pretty long-winded, but that's, I guess, my story and my journey and how I ended up in SFM and a bit of the mental approach that I brought to it.
Yeah.
I guess I could go into kind of more of the marketing aspect or the SFM specific journey, or
Well, it depends on. Does anyone have any questions for Chris?
questions.
I'd love to hear about the marketing side of it that you were just mentioning.
Okay. So I'm pretty. I don't know if I'm good or bad at marketing. I've been in that. I think I'm on my 5th Facebook account, on my 2nd AdWords account. I had an Instagram account shut down within 24 hours. What else? I've been shut down on pretty much every platform several times over the last 18 months. But that's also really good because I've learned a lot about what to do and what not to do. And again, a lot of that comes down to the mental aspect of just keep going. It's that entrepreneurial thing of figuring shit out, and when shit hits the fan, which it does, if you're marketing and you're selling the SFM, you're going to get shit at some point. It's just unfortunately the way it is. You can be super and you can do everything above board, but one day someone looks at it the wrong way and they'll close you down.
Hey, so Chris, I just have a question.
Yeah.
So what sort of things are they looking at when they go to shut you down? What are the things that they're not liking?
Yeah, so it depends on the platform. So if we look, probably the worst offender is Facebook. Facebook's the one where you've got the best chance of getting canned on Facebook. And when you get canned, it's final. There's no real support structure built into Facebook at the moment. I think they're probably working on that a bit more now, and they seem to be a bit more proactive around there. Their advertiser support. There's a few new things coming out, and they're opening up a bit. But to date, they'd be like, if your account's gone, you can send an email saying, explain it and help me why. And 6 months later, you had no response, or they just send back going.
That doesn't sound good.
Sorry?
That doesn't sound good. I just paid for like 3 months of advertising with them, and I don't want to waste that money. Like, fuck, no way. I just don't want that to happen. So, and I've gone through an agency to do it.
Okay.
Will they be aware of like compliance and stuff? Because
they should be. They're an agency and they're charging you money to run your campaigns, and they should be. Yeah,
well, so ultimately they would be responsible, right? Like, I've paid them to create the campaign, and
I mean, there's a responsibility there as long as you've kind of given them the rundown. Sure. I mean, at the end of the day, it's always going to come down to affiliate. There's only so much you can rely on the platform to support you. It sounds kind of doom, but there's ways of. So starting with Facebook, the big thing to avoid is the number one, just probably going straight to sfm.com links. That's going to get you shut down pretty quickly. Although for some people it works and some people it doesn't. And this is kind of the dichotomy of advertising. You see two different people with pretty much the same website, pretty much the same thing, similar ad. One stays on forever and one gets shut down. So it can be just the wrong person sees it one day and decides to shut it down. Sure. So avoiding things like just writing sfm.com links. So always have your own landing pages, whether they're built through SLC and published under your own domain. But having everything in your own domain is like rule number one. Get pages under your own domain. Rule number two is the landing pages. For Facebook, more the landing page has to be really compliant, and then the website around it also has to be compliant. But probably a little less so than with AdWords. So Facebook, they're going to look largely at what it looks like, and then they're going to check to see if it's got things like disclaimers and privacy and privacy policy disclaimers, that kind of thing.
Right.
But the page itself needs to not be make money online, click here and get rich. Anything about even like online business, digital business, internet marketing, online marketing, that kind of terminology can get you in trouble. And the same with your ads as well. If your ads are like online marketing.
Yeah, I was thinking before about, you know, how you just said SFM ends up lumped in the same bucket as all of those get rich quick, make, you know, however much in 30 days and that's something that's always kind of bothered me, is that it does have that sort of association. So I guess really it's about finding an approach that's not like that. That's not that cookie cutter kind of, that, you know, something really fresh. And I think if everybody took that approach, you know, something a little bit more outside of that cookie cutter kind of approach to, you know, even our website.
Yeah. Definitely.
You know,
yeah, I mean the route, the safest. I think Rexy or Volume that you're doing.
Oh. What do you want me to do?
Somebody, I think, maybe somebody was echoing. That's better. That's fine. Maybe it was you. So I mean, the safest avenue to go down education. So education, that sort of that avenue can work well. And if you want to, and where you talk about the business system, digital lifestyle business or a lifestyle business, that's pretty safe. And I'm using it at the moment for Facebook. I'm just back on a fresh Facebook account. So and I've rebuilt my website as well. So it's more about digital lifestyle and living your lifestyle and that sort of aspect, which just is. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. And I'm totally with you when you say, you know, for you it's been more about what you've learned, who you've become. You know, it's not just about making cash or, you know, or even the lifestyle as such. It's more about the education. It's more about that growth. And I think, you know, that's probably quite a nice angle to come in on. Like, it's more about development than it is get out there and make $1 million, you know? And that's probably more encouraging for people to, you know, want to be a part of it than, you know, because the skepticism comes from, really, I'm going to make $1 million in this time, you know? I mean,
make $1 million.
That's an put off for me. Yeah.
And I mean, I think that the thing with the core SFM stuff is there has some of the older landing pages, and like even when I joined, Robbie, you've been around longer than me, and 18 months, a year ago, a lot of those pages are still around. It was put a business in 90 days, earn X amount of dollars in 90 days. There was a bit of that stuff in there.
Sure.
I think that has to change, and they're working on changing.
Definitely. If it's not working, it definitely has to. You know what I mean? Like, if it puts people off.
So, yeah, I mean, all that stuff is going through compliance now. I know they are working on a lot of that stuff, and that's why they built in like the 5 steps page is really compliant, and the business you love page. So those two are really compliant, and they're because they have the aspects of compliance are, if you make a claim, you just need to back it up with, number one, a disclaimer, and number two, it needs to be kind of credible. So the 5 steps page is talking about 5 steps to build a successful online business. You've got a video with Stuart where he gives away most of the 5 steps, and then you've actually got the 5 steps listed below on the page, so you can read all about the 5 steps. And then the call to action is to sign up to get the 7-day video series to learn more. You've got what all the videos are, what's included in the videos, You can find out more about them. Again, disclaimers about this isn't going to work for everybody. If you're making a claim, you have to say, look, this is a claim. It's not going to work the same for everybody. Results will vary. You just need to be very specific about covering that. You can't even just say, sign up and learn the 5 steps to building a profitable business without kind of backing that up with a disclaimer that says results will vary. Can't guarantee that you're going to get results with this system. And then those pages also have a bit about Stuart, so there's kind of an about me aspect to it. So who is this guy? Who am I signing up to? What's his background? Why am I going to listen to him? There needs to be a bit of that aspect in there, which you can do as an affiliate. You can just talk about yourself and how you came to the system and what it's given to you. And I did struggle with that a bit. I think everyone does when you haven't had a 10K month. You haven't made any money from it. But you can, as you're saying, you can talk about what's it given me. They gave me this awesome blueprint. I'm finding myself becoming an entrepreneur. I've learned about internet marketing. I've learned how to build my own brand. I learned how to build websites. I learned all this great stuff. I'm becoming a better person. I can see the potential of, retiring, blah, 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 making money, living the lifestyle. So you can, wherever you're at now, that's your story, and you can tell that, and that's going to motivate people. But it doesn't have to be Chris and Gerard saying we did 84 grand last month.
Yeah.
But you can also use testimonials, use testimonial videos, use those guys, use Chris Idol, use the people that are performing really well and getting results. You can use those back through your broadcasts and that sort of thing as well. So that's that. You can give that proof kind of once someone's on. On your landing pages, you want to make sure that there's a bit about you, so people know what they're signing up to and what your relationship is with SF and with DDA.
Right.
So that's so something like the 5 steps and build a business you love. If you look at the structure of those pages, they're pretty good, compliant from a Facebook perspective, and they're largely compliant for AdWords. When you move to YouTube, which most people do YouTube and not AdWords, when you move to Google's main difference is they're going to look at the landing page, but then they're going to look at the entire website as well. So where Facebook will probably have a bit of a look at your site, but I think, don't take this for gospel, they're more concerned about the first page that the person goes to, and then they may check out the thank you page. So they may follow it sort of through the funnel. AdWords is going to look at your entire website. They're going to look at every page. They're going to make sure that every single page is compliant with their terms of service. What are their terms of service? The best way is to go and have a look, go and read the guidelines with Facebook as well. If you're advertising on Facebook and you haven't read their advertising guidelines, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah.
If you don't know the game you're getting into, if you don't know the rules and you get shut down, I got shut down, but did you read the rules?
Yeah, that's right.
And 95% of people haven't. Well, they kind of have an idea. They haven't actually read it.
It sounds to me too like the rules are so changeable. So even if you have some sort of basic knowledge of what's going on with them, then you've got sort of a little bit of a guideline, to work off.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they change and shift all the time, but it's kind of incremental. It's not like there's a massive change and suddenly everything you were doing yesterday no longer applies.
Right.
It does change and it can be significant. Like Facebook now, you can't mention any aspect of who you're talking to. So you can't talk about their gender or their political affiliation, or you can't talk about their sexual status or their marital status or any of that personal information. You can't introduce your ad. You can't add in your ad, and that was fairly new. But they give you now they're actually giving you ideas of what's acceptable and what's not. If you look into Facebook advertising, part of their website, they're starting to give you more ideas about how you can refer to people in your ads, which they didn't have 3, 4, 5 months ago. That's pretty new.
I think it's all about finding the right dialogue, isn't it?
Yeah, with your audience or with Facebook?
Well, with any. I mean, why I like to tune into these meetings that Robbie conducts, and all credit to Rob for that, and thanks and applause and all that, is to pick up, phrases that can be used to benefit. And already, I think you said before, this is a group for exceptional people. That's a key phrase that I'm going to start to use. A couple of weeks ago, or a couple of months ago, somebody else, might have been Sandra, said this is a university of self-development, and I rather clued in on that one because I thought that was pretty powerful. And they're pretty compliant. Well, I think they're pretty compliant statements that can be used to benefit. Chris, can I ask you another question? Now, have we finished?
Yeah.
You might just go first.
Yeah, I just cut myself off stupidly. Chris, how and why would you recommend black to people?
Because it's awesome. It's kind of hard to put a finger on, but no, I haven't been to a retreat. I booked for Mexico and then I pulled out sort of at the last minute. So I haven't been on a retreat, but it's the general community is awesome in SFM, and you all know that the people you get to chat to are awesome. At Black, it's just next level. It's just the next level of people that are kind of doing bigger things. So guys like Christian Beer, who's AdWords Google Master, networking with those guys and having more access with them, masterminding with guys like that. Obviously at that level, you've got more access to Stuart and Jay. We have our Black Mastermind calls. A lot of the stuff that's coming from when there's new things coming into SFM and new programs, new platforms, new concept, they come through Black first. So we're also kind of we know what's coming with the community and with the system. We get a bit more insight into that on our calls and through our Facebook group. But a lot of it is just belonging to the elite community and just having those minds around you. I imagine that the retreats are just phenomenal in terms of who you get to network and the brain power that's going on.
Yeah, sure.
When there's not so much like you don't learn really like additional marketing techniques. A lot of through gold, like gold is where you're going to learn all of that stuff. Platinum's where you're going to learn the branding aspects through those incubators. And then Black really is set up as that next level masterminding community. But also then you have the opportunity to say, I came up with a product, I can pitch that into Jay and through Mark Ford. And if I've got an awesome product that's going to be useful for the community, they'll take that on board, and there's the potential that then becomes a DEA product that can then be sold through the community. So that's the other aspect of Black as well. It's that once you're kind of at that level, you're at the level that you're kind of at a certain level of entrepreneurship. You've maybe got your own courses. You're not just a newbie in internet marketing. But I mean, people come straight in with no knowledge and straight to Black purely because they see the opportunity. So that's the networking. But yeah, you've got your own ideas. You might be awesome at SEO, like Dr. Brad. You guys might have seen him. Dr. Brad's SEO stuff. So he's got some SEO stuff that again could go through. So with that, Christian's amazing with compliance. So he's now working as the compliance officer and doing lots of work around that. And Brian Alan's Facebook training is coming into the sort of gold aspect, gold training. There's that potential as well that you can partner with DEA to launch your product really and sell your products back through the community. But it's kind of multi-tiered. So it's a little bit hard to put a finger on, but that's really, it's the community aspect and the ability to have that opportunity of pushing product back.
Yeah, sure.
But I wouldn't not be Black. I say once you go Black, you never go back. So yeah, I'm glad that I went Black.
No, sure. We want to go Black too, but we have a few other financial commitments get out of the way first, namely get Henry's residence, firm and positive in Australia to start with. But we'll get there. It's just wonderful. It is, as you say, a group of exceptional people, and it is a university for self-development. And it's quite unique, and it's magic. And that's it. I'm going to love you and leave you because I'm full of the flu, I'm full of the shit cold, and I feel like that. I'm getting pissed off looking at Robbie's smiling face. Anyway, I love you all. I'm going to go back to bed. So thank you for that. See you next time around. That's me.
Yeah, catch you on you can come catch the replay and see what happens from here on.
Yeah, and I'll see you in Melbourne.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, looking forward to that. Yeah, I mean, Robbie's the only face I can see at the moment. Everyone else is just icons. So,
you get
yeah, so where did we get to? Yeah, marketing. Yeah, so what you can and can't say. So here's a bit of my marketing journey that may be applicable. So I started. I was just doing the standard SFM stuff, the live a laptop lifestyle, entrepreneurs wanted, all that standard stuff, which back 18 months ago was more acceptable to run ads to. Did all that, and then I did the Satori Prime Kickstarter program, and kind of came out of that and went, I'm going to target business owners because I'm a business guy, people that maybe have a business, that want to start something different, get more of that lifestyle freedom. So I kind of trundled off and did a whole business thing, which was my Business Accelerator Academy, which I still have. So I did the website and I started running and promoting as that. And that was all well and good. And then probably 3 or 4 months ago, after I think I got shut down again and I was off. I was off and on. I think I had Facebook and something else shut down. I was sort of looking to refresh again. I started looking at who was performing well. And I started looking at Christian Gerard and Chris Idle, Storm India, Paul D, and all the guys that were on the leaderboard every month in, month out. And the difference between kind of what I was doing and what I saw them doing was they were really just about lifestyle. It was personal and it was lifestyle, whereas I was kind of presenting as a business, and then the lifestyle thing didn't really fit in. I felt weird in my broadcast, kind of talking about myself or doing personal broadcasts or shooting videos that were more about me and my journey kind of under that business guise. It felt a bit weird. So it was more a feeling thing than that it was wrong. But I just kind of felt that if I came back to me and I came back to my, instead of bizexcelacademy.com, I came back under my chris-mc.com, which was my original authority site. So I kind of came back under that guise, rebranded the website, rebuilt the website so it was compliant, and started talking more like this, like more lifestyle, and showing, leading with Stuart as well. That was a big difference, and that was something that when I was doing the business accelerator side, I was being really creative, and I had all these great ideas for campaigns. And I was doing really just my own campaigns, my own creative, and my own concept, and it was really fun, and it was great, but wasn't really getting apps. Made next to no money for most of the year. Had apps on and off, decent leads, and a bit on and off, a bit patchy. It was September. I sort of relaunched with this new mindset, and since then I've seen exponential growth. And last month I had my best month, my best, most consistent month. I did just under, if I take into it, so I did about $5,000 last month in commission, which was, but I had one elite that is on payment plan, but I'll kind of accrue that into that month. So I did just under $5,000 last month, and that's the best month I've had since like month 2. But month 2, I lucked down, got a platinum. That was my first sale was a platinum sale. But that was my best month because I made one sale and made the $5,000 commission on platinum. But since then, I had kind of dribs and drabs and not much. And as soon as I shifted that focus to, there's probably an internal shift as well of like, I'm just going to talk about me and my vision and my mission and be personal and talk about my journey, and then promote that lifestyle aspect of this is where I work. You know, I'm at home. I work in my home office. If I do a lot. So me and my girlfriend rescues a lot of stray cats and kittens, and that takes up a lot of time. And she calls me and goes, "Oh, I found another cat, and I'm going to take it to the vet." And it's 1 o'clock on a Tuesday. If I'm at work, I can't. I'm in a job and I can't leave. She can't leave because she's at work. But I'm working from home. I'm my own boss. I have that freedom. I can go and I can spend 3-4 hours taking the cat to a vet and looking after it and bringing it back and feeding it and all that kind of stuff. Or I can go and get a haircut at midday on a Wednesday because my hair's a bit scruffy, and I go, I'll go get a haircut. And it's that simple stuff. It's that simple stuff that I really love, and that's what I'm talking about more in my videos and in my broadcasts and in my marketing. I'm talking more about that lifestyle aspect, and that largely came off. I just modelled what everyone else was doing. I modelled what the successful people in SFM were doing, and I simplified everything. That was the biggest thing. When I was doing the business thing, I was way overcomplicating it. I was sticking all these things in front of just getting into the funnel. And then I had a really good call with Chris and Gerard and just sort of talked to those guys about what they were doing and how they ran their business. It's so simple. Like how they got their success was so simple. They did like 1, 2, 3, and they just ran quality leads into the basic funnel. That's all they did. And I was doing all this other stuff and being really creative, and they just put Stuart up front and ran it through the basic funnel. And that's what Chris Idle's doing. That's what Paul's doing. That's what Strom and Beer do. That's what Guy and Alan do. That's what Satori do on their stuff. And then you just talk about the lifestyle aspect, which I saw Paul doing a lot of, which I'm sure you guys have seen Chris and Gerard doing a lot of. It's just them by the pool on holiday going, this is my life. This is where I am. This is my business. It's running while I'm here. And that was, that's been a really big shift. In the last few months, I'm getting regular apps, I'm getting regular upgrades, I'm getting regular members. And it feels better. Like I'm enjoying my marketing, I'm enjoying my business much more. Because number one, it's working, and number two, it's really simple. It's just simple. I think a lot of, I speak to quite a few SFM members, and we overcomplicate it. We think it has to be, we've got to be so unique and so different. We've got to do all these other things and stick a video in front of the video and do this and do that. And you overcomplicate it, and then you kind of get overwhelmed. But people that are getting the success are just keeping it really simple, just following the system. Weirdly enough, it's like we've got a system that we can just follow and it works. And that's what I wasn't doing for a long time. So that was kind of number one, shifting back to just me, my story. And I feel good sharing myself now. Sharing myself, that sounds weird. But sharing my story and what I'm doing, and I talk about my cats all the time.
Hey, so Chris, so when you're doing that, because I haven't gone to market yet, I'm about to, and what freaks me out is focusing on the making money thing. It just doesn't feel right, almost. I just don't want to sell. I just don't want to sell like that. So when you're saying you're talking just about the lifestyle, your cats, that sort of thing,
Yes, it's the lifestyle free, the freedom aspect really is what I get to talk about that because I'm self-employed and I work from home and I do that full time, and I've done that as I was saying before. Kind of that's my backstory is I've done that for over a decade. So that's my story, and I can talk about being my own boss, and that's quite natural for me because that's who I am and what I do. And I talk about my cats because it's for me, it's talking about my kids. So if I had kids, I'd say Elan just uploaded a video on Satori, and he was talking about, I just dropped my kids off at daycare and I'm like the only dad there. And he loves the fact that he can drop his kid off at daycare every single day.
Sure.
That's lifestyle freedom. And for me, it's playing with my cats and taking the dogs for a walk and going and getting a haircut during the day. So that's the freedom. But if I was someone that had a 9 to 5 and I was doing this on the side, I'd be talking about the potential of, I see that I can have that freedom. Or I'd be talking about, hey, look what I'm doing on the side. I've got a job, and this is how simple this is. I'm running this whole business on the side, and you don't even have to say I haven't made a lot of money yet. You can talk about.
Yeah, that was my thing, really. Like, at the moment, well, my partner I've left a full-time job so that I can focus on this, and it's a privilege to sort of be able to do so. And my partner is working, so I'm not having to worry about my survival. I mean, I'm like you. I used to freelance in film and TV, and it was feast or famine. You either had a lot of work up and you were making good money, or you're making absolutely none. And I was a single parent at the time, so I know what that's about. And now I'm in this position where, I'm not having to be concerned about my survival like I have in the past. And that's purely only because, Nick's sort of the sole provider. But, yesterday I was down at the river with our dog, and 5 minutes later at the beach, and thinking it's 9:30 in the morning and I'm going back to work on my business. And although I'm not making money, this is a lifestyle. It's amazing,
Yeah. And that's your video. That's your broadcast. Yeah. That's your story. Fuck, it's 9 o'clock in the morning, and I'm walking my dog down the beach.
I know.
Like, how cool is that? What are you doing? I'm sure you're at work in your cubicle going, "Fuck, I hate my life."
Yeah, right.
That you don't need to give the backstory of, "Oh, look, my husband's looking at me, my husband's supporting me," and you don't need to tell that part of the story.
No.
Like, I don't need to tell people about the fact that I sold my property to cash flow my business.
Sure.
I don't need to tell that story.
Well, because the thing is too is
because it's not about, as you say, it's not about that. It's about the lifestyle aspect.
Yeah, sure. And I still think that I'm working, actually, if anything, harder. Because I'm sort of learning new skills and applying myself probably in a different way, and it's still, it's still work. Like,
Yeah, but it's not work because you love it, and
exactly. It's the challenges are the right kind of challenges. Are the challenges I've been looking for.
Exactly, and then, again, that's another broadcast. That's a blog post. That's your story. That's your life, and that's what's going to connect to people, because they're going to go, "Oh, this is a real person," and she's saying that she doesn't really care that she's not making money because she's got this freedom to kind of live her life. She's working her balls off. She's grinding, but she loves it. She doesn't care that she's grinding and that she's overwhelmed and she's got all this stuff going on, because she's mind blown because she's having to learn all this new information. But she's got this great system behind her. She's got this platform. She's got this community. There's this support there that that's what gives her that freedom. And people that get it they'll get it, and they'll go, "Oh,
yeah, sure."
I see that." And then, because there's a reason you joined SFM, and there's a reason the 8 people on this call joined SFM.
The same
and
reason.
that's what you're promoting. Like, for me, I saw Live a Laptop Lifestyle, and I went, yes, one of those, please. Wrap it up. I'll take it.
Yeah.
And it's probably a similar story for most of us. It wasn't.
Well, it's funny because I've only been doing this sort of like 4 months, and it's amazing because just the other day I was thinking, just how people just need to know more about it. Like, this is an option for everyone, and everybody wants what we want, which is freedom over, just governing your own time as opposed to having an organisation govern that for you,
Yeah, living life on your terms instead of living someone else's dream.
Yeah.
You're building your own empire instead of building somebody else's. It's all that kind of stuff. And I talk about that kind of aspect a lot. I think corporate life's just fucking ridiculous. I think anyone can have a 9 to 5 and be stuck in a corporation. When like this is a feasible option, and if you can make this work, and there's always a way. There's always a way. Like I said, there's always a way to cash something out and go all in on something like this, or there's a way to do it part time until you can get out of it. But the important thing is making that decision.
Exactly.
I'm doing this, and whatever the means are to get to that end, I'm willing to commit to it and do it. Whether that's selling my kids, selling my house, moving country, downsizing, working a few less days a job, getting an extra job to pay for the new business, whatever that is, it's different for everyone.
Sure. Yeah.
But you'll find people that want to be part of this, that want to be part of SFM, they'll see a video, they'll hear a broadcast, they'll see the 5 steps landing page and something in that, they'll go, that's what I'm looking for, and I see the opportunity.
The vision, eh?
Yeah, I mean, like those landing pages, that's the first thing people see, and there's enough in those for the right type of person. Like for me, I literally went through, it was that old school. It's probably, I think it's still in the back office. It's the orange sunset illustration with the silhouette it was that on a Facebook ad that literally just said live the laptop lifestyle, and click through and it's that image with an opt-in box, and that was enough for me. So when I'm talking about overcomplicating shit, like that's what got me in. Like there was literally no sell there, it just said live the laptop lifestyle, and obviously I'd been targeted probably because I'd read 4 Hour Work Week, or because I'd read one of Robert Kiyosaki's books, or Tony Robbins or Robin Sharma, or any of these people and books and things that I like. Mark, who targeted me, obviously he knew that by targeting that keyword or people that like that, live a laptop lifestyle is something that they would probably like. So the marketing's kind of there. It doesn't have to be super complicated. Unfortunately, now it does have to be a little bit more complicated just for compliance. But kind of theoretically, it doesn't have to be complicated.
Sure.
Finding people that like the same stuff that you do.
Exactly, yeah, that's what it is, really.
Talking to them about who you are and what you do. Yeah. I mean, pick any person in the SFM, jump on Skype with them, and you'll have a conversation.
Yeah.
About similar stuff. You're not really going to not have a decent conversation with somebody. Everyone's been targeted through the same keywords for the last 18 months, so everyone's read the 4 Hour Work Week or Rich Dad Poor Dad or something like that.
Yeah.
Most people are getting targeted through those sorts of keywords. So you're all part of a pretty unique group.
Yeah, it's cool.
So it doesn't, overcomplicating it is the one thing that I did it for 18 months, and now I wish that I hadn't. But I also, the second most important thing, or probably the most important thing, is being consistent.
Sure.
And that was something that I, for that 18 months or so up until September of this year, I was on it. Like literally, I'd advertise for 4 months and get an account shut down and be down for a month, and then I'd advertise for 2 weeks and get shut down, or I'd run out of budget and I'd be off for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and I'd be back on for a month, then I'd be off for a month. So really, out of 15, 16 months, I'd probably advertised 4 or 5 months on and off over that time. But now that I've been consistent for 3 months, and I've been marketing every single day, I'm getting leads every single day, I'm monitoring my business every single day, that consistency starts adding up. And that's the other thing. That's the simple thing as well. All the people that you see on the leaderboard, I say that's all they're doing, but that's all they're doing. They're being consistent. They're marketing every single day. They're broadcasting as regularly as they can, but consistently. And they're being very, very consistent with their business. And look at Chris and Gerard, Paul D and Chris Ide, all the guys that are killing it now. they've been, like, I know Paul, I did the Satori Prime Kickstarter course with Paul. I don't know if it was this year or last year. It was probably last year. Yeah, I did that course with him, and that's probably 6 to 8 months ago. And he was, at that point, he was kind of starting. He was lost. From that day till now, he's been marketing every single day. He's been consistent every day, broadcasting, shooting videos, talking to his list. And now he's doing 5, 6, 7, 10, 15 grand a month.
Yeah.
So to say it's like, I don't say like that's all they're doing, but I don't want to oversimplify it, but really, theoretically, that's all they're doing is being very consistent. Chris and Gerard are the same. Chris Idol's the same. Very consistent, and they've been consistent for a long time. And it starts small and then it gets exponential. There's a tipping point where you start, those 10K months become regular, and that's kind of your baseline.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I'm not there. I'm not there yet, so I can't say that I'm there. But I did almost 5 grand last month. I'd be sad if I didn't do the same this month. I'm aiming for 11 grand. 11 grand is my target for this month, and kind of double that next month. That's kind of in my head and down on paper that those are my targets. But I'd be kind of upset if I didn't get close to that 10 grand this month and then move on that again next month, because I know I'm being consistent. I'm sending quality traffic into the funnel.
Sure. Good on you.
That's really all it is. But that's a beautiful thing of having this system. Is It is a system that you can just do the upfront thing, work out where the good traffic is, and send it through the funnel, and just be consistent and pick. If you've got $100 a month to spend $100 a month. If you've got 1,000 a month, spend 1,000 a month. But just do it consistently and do it regularly. And in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, depending on the budget and the number of leads, it'll start to work.
Yeah.
And that took me a long time to realise. I kind of just had that shift 2 or 3 months ago. I was kind of fighting it for a long time. I thought, it can't be that easy. It can't be that easy. I've got to, I'm really creative, and I'm a marketing guy, I'm a business advertising guy. I'm going to do it. I'm going to kill it in a whole new way. I'm going to make it so cool. And now I'm just doing it really simple, and it's working a lot better.
Right. So it's just a formula, and you're just sticking to the formula rather than trying to recreate the wheel.
Yeah. Well, it's a digital business system.
Yeah, sure.
There's a reason they call it a system.
Yeah. Follow the steps.
Yeah. It's like 1, 2, 3. Build a business.
It's easy if you are creative to start overthinking these things.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's one of the worst things about being creative. I mean, everyone's creative, but being a creative person that comes, when you've got an art or a designer or something like that background, you're always not going to get the best photos, and it's going to be, the kerning on that font's got to be exact. And then you look at somebody who's doing well, and they just got some piece of shit landing page. They're doing 50 grand a month, and you're like, oh gosh, the kerning's horrible on that font. How are they doing that?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, good advice. This is cool.
I hope it's good. I mean, that's what I came to over quite recently, but sort of over the time as well, over the last 18 months, and kind of watching who's become successful and getting involved in the community and just chatting to people and doing my own marketing as well. I've done that many different campaigns to that many different targets, and that's part of it as well. There's an aspect that you're not going to launch, you're not going to jump on anything and do your first ad and have leads come through the door consistently. So that aspect is going to take time. So it's a simple structure. Get quality leads, put them into the system, but that marketing, that getting quality leads thing, there's learning there too. Like, that's obviously a process as well, and working out where the best traffic is, how to get it, what the best keywords to target are, what the best video to use is, what the best words to use, what image works well with this demographic on Facebook versus which video works well with this demographic on YouTube. All that stuff's a learning process. But the benefit is you've got all that training, depending on where you're positioned. You've got access to all of that training. And there's really nothing you need to go out and kind of do yourself.
Yeah, well, and I imagine that a lot of it comes through just applying what it is that you're learning and, you know, making a few mistakes and, you know, that's...
Yeah, I think that stops a lot of people too. No one wants to fail.
Yeah.
And that's a big, as an entrepreneur, like you've got to love failure.
Yeah, well, you inspired me tonight, actually, just by what you said, that you've just kept at it and stuck at it. And, you know, like, geez, I don't even have to hit a technical wall, you know, here in the, I mean, we're on the West Coast in the South Island, middle of nowhere, you know, and, you know, so it can get overwhelming. And all I have to keep saying is that I'm needing to push through it, because you just have to get to the next step and the next step, you know, like.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And that's where I shot a video yesterday kind of about that same thing. The entrepreneurial journey, it's a shit fight. It isn't. Like it's not I start here and success is here and I just go like that and I'm successful. It's like this. It's up and down and it's all over the place. It's not a straight line. And a lot of people, I've seen a lot of people, especially in the SFM, and that's kind of the misnomer too, is people think they're buying a business system and they're going to push play and $1 million comes out. Right. It's a misnomer. But the thing the SFM does really well is the mindset. And if you do actually follow the modules and you get the mindset bit right first, and then you launch into your business and your marketing, it's going to be a lot easier. So kind of on another tip, like get it starts here. Get your head right first, and then do the business bit, and the business bit's going to be a lot easier.
Yeah, well, that's what I felt before I launched. You know, like the website and that sort of thing. I really needed to be ready. It was just as ready as I could possibly be. You know, I didn't want to put something out there that I didn't feel good about or confident about, or, you know, and you don't know until you do, obviously. And, but yeah, I've taken my time, you know, probably a little longer than Nick sort of probably wants me to, but, you know, certainly it's a process, you know.
Yeah, But there's that thing as well, perception's a myth. The best time to launch is now.
Yeah, true. You're right.
You're never going to get it right enough to be perfect, so you might as well just go with what you got.
Go with it. Yeah,
and if it's not working, you fix it. But it's that stalls out a lot of people as well. Like on my website's not perfect, or don't fully understand how to do Facebook ads.
Right.
Well, do a Facebook. The best way to learn to do a Facebook ad is to do a Facebook ad.
Yeah, sure.
It's easy. You just go click, you type some text, you put an image, you hit send. It goes up, it gets approved, it doesn't. There's a result and you work out what to do next. But if you sit there, but if I do it and it gets disapproved, then they're going to come and they're going to take my car and I'll never get on Facebook again and my life's going to dissolve into nothingness if I don't do this ad right. And people spend 6-12 months, they buy into SFM, they're buying gold, platinum, silver, black, they spend this money and they sit there twiddling their thumbs because it's not right. Or they don't get it full on. Like, I'm not a marketing expert yet, so I'm not going to start.
Right.
And that's the entrepreneur mindset, and that's what you have to have is, fuck it, I'm just going to start. And I talked earlier about the figure shit out mentality. If you don't know how to do a Facebook ad, go into the training. If you're not positioned at gold, go on bloody YouTube. Go Google how to do marketing. Find like the internet. Everything's on the internet that you need to know. You've just got, with the SFM, you've just got an incredible gateway to really great training. But YouTube how to do a Facebook ad, and there's a billion results. So there's no reason to not do something. And there's no reason to wait for perfect circumstances to start, because they don't exist.
Right.
They quite simply, the perfect circumstance never ever exists. It's not. It's fallacy. So better just to start and fail and go, oh, okay, that didn't work, and try something until it does. And when it does, you'll be like, okay, I get ads now. I get Facebook. There's nothing, as much as you can watch every minute of every video in the SFM back office and take zero action and still not know how to do an ad.
Well, that's what's stupid.
You can watch it and get the gist and do an ad, and suddenly you know how to do an ad because you've got that experiential knowledge, and nothing beats that. Nothing, no book learning, no video watching is better than experiential knowledge.
Yeah.
When you've gone through it yourself and you've done it, you go, okay, I remember I clicked that and I clicked that and I put that there and it worked. And then next time I go, I click, and then it becomes second nature. I think a lot of people just don't start because they think it's too hard, or they haven't quite got it right, or like fear of failure is massive as well. People don't want to fuck up and be seen as a failure. But you're a marketer, you're an entrepreneur. You're a fucker-upper. Like, that's what you do. You mess stuff up. That's your job title. I'm going to put that on my business cards now. Professional fucker-upper. But that's what you fail. I think I posted an Instagram post one time, and I just said, like, I've failed. I've probably failed more times than you've even tried, and that's why I'm going to win.
That's great. Love that.
Chris MC _lifestyle on Instagram if you want to follow me. But it's true. Like, I was saying at the start, like, I've eaten bread rolls that many weeks that I know how to not succeed. I know what that feels like. So if you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to be a business owner, get comfortable with failure. And it's not an end. It's just a result. It's not an end.
Yeah.
It's just,
true.
I did this and it didn't work. Okay, I'll try something different today.
Yeah.
It's not life ending. It's not life shattering if your first ad gets disapproved, or you spend $100 and you get one lead. You worked out how to get a lead. As a result, just work out how to spend less than $100 next time. And the training's there. You can work out how to optimize optimize campaigns depending where you're positioned. If you're positioned at gold, you're in an awesome position to learn marketing. Jump on a call with Greg and Fiona, one of the coaches, and they'll help you out. If you're silver, if you're elite, the training's there. If you're basic, there's enough training there to get you started. And then there's the internet. I think people forget. I think people, I don't say like old people, but maybe it's older or younger people, but you forget that you can search things. Like I bought this course and that's got to, like, everything has to be in there. You forget that you've got access to anything. You can find out anything that you want to find out about anything. If you're in SFM and you're not positioned at gold, but you want to find out how to do marketing, just go on YouTube and learn how to do marketing. There's always a way. There's always a way to work out what you need to work out. And if you mess it up, just do it better next time. And then do it better the time after that. And 3-6 months down the track, you're a genius.
Right.
I talk to people all the time. And so I have chats with people and they look back on themselves and they go, I built like basic stuff, like you get through module 4 and you go, shit, I just built a website. Like, how did I do that? And they're like amazed by how like they've done this, they've achieved this thing. And it can be basic stuff like that. But if you've just started today, in 6 months' time, you look back and you go, wow, look at the knowledge I've got now. Look what I've learned. Look at who I've become and the people that I've met and the stuff that I've done. You'll be blown away by what you've actually achieved in that time, even if you've made no money. You still, money is one part of the journey, and that comes with the consistency, and it comes with having a regular budget, and getting better at marketing and all that stuff takes time. And we're all here to build a business, and business. And I started the conversation. And business just takes time. It's not a get rich quick thing. You get rich slow. It's just the way it is. But slow can be. I'd be stoked to be rich in 3 years or 12 months. It doesn't have to be tomorrow, but if I got a 6-figure business in 3 years' time and I'm independent and I've got my lifestyle freedom, I'll take that over earning twice that money in a corporate job.
Yeah.
I take 100 grand a year running my own business. I take 50, 60 grand a year. I mean, whatever it is for you, if you can take that working for yourself, but it takes you 3 years to get there, probably a better that time's going to pass anyway, so you might as well build a business.
Yeah.
Why not? There's something better to do with your spare time.
Mate, I just wanted to jump in and a lot of stuff is resonating. I joined at Gold. I've only been in nearly 3 months, and trying and failing. The key takeaways for me tonight is simplicity, and I'm searching for simplicity. It sounds so simple to keep it simple, but
it's hard. That's the hardest thing is to keep it simple.
Exactly. And I think the other takeaway for me is, basically to keep trying. I've just prior to coming on, I had my had a mentoring call with Greg and Fiona, and we're looking at my latest campaign failure, and it's not until you've done it and tried and no, that didn't work. All right, let's do it this way, and so it is a process. It'd be lovely if you just had an instant switch and go bingo, but it's part of the journey, isn't it? And it's going to be different for each of us, basically. So,
Yeah, I mean, all of us come with different skill sets and different paths.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I kind of went into my background, because when I came to SFM, I was in a pretty good position. I was tech savvy. I knew marketing. I've been doing advertising for Fortune 500 companies for over a decade. So I get marketing, I get advertising, I get technology. I'm doing ads on Facebook was technically very simple, and the kind of the mental aspect of what advertising, what marketing is kind of second nature. But people don't have that. People come in and be like, I have no idea what a market is.
And I can identify with that. I'm a 64-year-old, and I guess the other takeaway is how much you've learned. I can't believe the amount of learning that's been compressed into this last nearly 3 months. I've built 5 websites. I was not at all familiar with WordPress, and there's a whole new language actually to learn. I was looking at silo ads and that sort of stuff. I didn't even know what they were talking about. Took your advice, You go on to Google and and I'm not going to do silo ads, by the way, but
Yeah.
Anyway,
you've got a couple $100,000 to spend on solo ads.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, that's not the position. Anyway, I've taken away a lot tonight, and I'm going to watch the recording because I want to focus in again on the simplicity stuff, and particularly, I guess, your learnings from those kids that are ripping in the dough. And that's what they've said. It's about simplicity. Don't overcomplicate it. So I'm happy to do that. Just need to learn how to do it. But appreciate it. You fantastic information tonight, Chris. Brilliant.
I'm glad it's been useful. I mean, that's the thing for me. Like, Chris and Gerard have been such an inspiration for the whole community, I think. I've seen a couple of young blokes who come in from a tradie background and did 84 a month. People are like, how the hell did you do that? And all they've done, they did most of that off one keyword on YouTube.
Yes.
That's how simple their marketing was. They weren't testing, they weren't tracking, they weren't had this elaborate funnel laid out. They had one keyword and one video on YouTube.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all they had. That's what
they found the vein, didn't they? They found the vein. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they got there first.
Mm.
They found the vein and they got there kind of before most people did. But like it was pretty simple. Like one keyword, one video, and then they kind of picked up other stuff and grew it as YouTube told them other stuff and gave them information. They built it out. But that was one aspect that was really, really simple.
Yep.
And their biggest, but the biggest thing they brought to it was their mindset. Their mindset was, we're going to make this work.
Yes.
And they made a decision. And that's the definition of decision was that changed me a bit when I just through Guy and Alan through one of their Satori programs. They talked about what a decision actually meant. And you think like to be decisive is like it's to cut off.
Yes.
When you make a decision, you're think of any other word that ends in cision. It's pretty much it's an end, right? It's
it is.
Here, and I've made a decision, and there's no going back from where I am.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what they came into it with. They said, right, we hate what we're doing. We want to make it work. We're going to get a loan from the bank. Put everything on the line, go all in, and they made a decision, and their headspace was right before they started.
Sure.
So that was probably the biggest thing they did, and then the marketing was kind of just whatever. That was just if you look at it from a more universal spiritual perspective, they attracted the right things to make their dream happen because they decided that that's what they wanted. And it orchestrated itself to give them that.
Exactly. I mean, if you take the life position of a 64-year-old, who has some super retirement savings, mate, you either take a lifestyle cut or you do something about it, and so I understand what you're saying about decisions. It's back to the wall, like it's this or nothing, full stop.
Yeah. That's, and I had not the same thing, but I had the same thing 3-4 months ago. I got to a point with various things, was like, fuck, I need to make it, like this has to work. This has to work. And that's when I sort of relaunched in September. I've been messing around with this thing long enough, and now it has to work. It was that decision. I went, fuck it, it's going to work. I'm going to go all in. I'm going to cash out of this, go all in to this business, and it's going to work. And every day since then, I know this is going to work. I've got no doubt I've no doubt that it's going to work, and by January, I'm going to have that financial freedom. That's just where I'm at, and that's what I'm putting out. And every day I focus on that, and that's where I come from. Not from me.
No, this is it. This is the deal.
If I don't, I'm fucked. Like if I don't, I've got a lot of stuff that.
Understood. I've got the same dialogue, mate. I look forward to meeting you at Momentum Day and shaking your hand and saying good day to you. Yeah,
me too.
Fantastic. I appreciate your time tonight, mate. Fantastic. Thank you.
It's mid-afternoon for me, so it's fine. Late for you guys. It's only 3:30 in the afternoon for me, so you can go another 3-4 hours if you like.
I think I need my sleep. I'd love to, but we might wrap it up there. It's been, was it an hour and a half now?
That was epic.
So thanks a lot there, Chris, and we'll see you in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, for sure. Get down to Momentum Day.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah,
thanks, Chris. Thanks, it was great.
Thank you.
Momentum, Platinum. See you there.
See you there.
Go for it. See you guys.
See ya.
See ya.
Ciao. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.